Good morning, Thor. Little
Now
hand
we
of God.
are back on Friday, aren't we? And not
We are back on Friday. It feels good. You know, a rat run, a little routine out of routine does not feel good.
Yeah, it's
It
weird,
doesn't
isn't it?
sit well. Yeah.
Yeah, it sort of
Yeah.
changes the rhythm and the energy and the vibe. And
Yeah.
I mean, is it a storm outside where you are? Because right now there's a slight storm outside where I
Yes.
am.
The trees are bending very
Yeah,
vigorously. This is a big tree I'm looking at. And
yeah,
also there's splashes of rain on the window.
yeah. I was supposed to go to the shop after this, but I'm not sure if I want to. I think I have to, but I'm not sure if I want to because, yeah.
Yeah. But if it's a shop, you're out and then into a shop, aren't you?
Oh well, I suppose yeah, it takes me a while to get there, basically, like
Oh,
clothes shop, like going shopping,
all
basically.
right.
You know.
All I can say is that with the wind that I'm seeing, be careful if you're using a bike.
I actually this time I wouldn't cycle.
Good.
Not this. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Not a, yeah.
I have been caught in some really bad weather sometimes on the bike, and it's not fun.
No, it isn't. Well, it's not in your control.
Yeah.
When a gust of wind comes, that's it.
Yeah. I have
Mm.
been drenched sometimes, and it's not great, is it?
No, no.
It's not nice at all, actually. So far so good.
Good, good. Yes, yes, absolutely. Yes.
So what are we talking about this week, Ines?
Well, um, we did speak about karma a little bit last week.
Yes, we did.
Just a little bit. And I thought we just continue
Okay, yeah.
on that. It's such a involved, deep subject, and obviously different opinions, which is depends which angle you're coming from.
Yeah.
So I really would like feedback. I would like no, don't agree. Oh, yeah, that really suits well. It doesn't make any difference. That's why we're doing this. Anyway, so if we continue with the spirit for a moment. Now, when I say the spirit that's around us, I will always say that, but also spirit. So when we die, the spirit goes on. It's saying wherever that dimensions or heaven, whatever you want to call it. So that's the guides or those that are just hanging around.
Yeah.
Or the spirits that have reincarnated maybe on other planets. I'm talking about life forms.
Yeah.
In general. That's what when I say spirit. Nothing else really matters except spirit. Everything is quite unimportant. Everything else is dispensable. The only thing that is not dispensable is the spirit, our spirit. And we are its vehicle, are we not? So we have quite an obligation. It's a privilege. It doesn't matter. I've said this before. This is not something I was going to say again. It doesn't matter what part of the spectrum we are at. Our life is of utmost importance, and each human being is invaluable. Otherwise, they would not be here. There is a control, obviously, and it is that control which we call God, the force, the total force, whatever. And this control is there in the sense that each and every spirit, whether it be with a body or with a subject or an object, has its path of karma. And when I say object, it's not your table. I'm not talking about that. Other planets, there are trillions of them, whatever. Other planets have different types of life forms, which we could not possibly understand or comprehend, but they still have an aura or a spirit. That aura or spirit is the image of God. Whether you're a little boll weevil, if you're a little skunk, if you're a little chipmunk, anything like that, if you're a human being. As soon as you have a spirit, you are in the image of God. Now then, karma is a word that is coined by Eastern religions, Eastern mystics, which gives the impression to most people of the pathway of life. Each and every spirit has its own path of karma, which is controlled from behind the barrier. The word barrier is used to describe the dimension where communication is no longer possible, such as you go to a medium, not a clairvoyant, a medium, halfway house between the physical and the spiritual. You can contact mother, father, anybody. that contact is lost, is no longer possible for this side of the barrier once we go across it. Exactly how this works is not totally known, apart from the fact that there's an individual communication to each of the countless billions of spirits that exist. And everyone within all of the countless galaxies has an individual path. Awesome, isn't it? The fact is, everyone is in some way controlled into that pathway in order to know the next part of the path of karma, so that the spirit can incarnate wherever that experience can be learned. This continuous incarnation, this is continuous incarnation because there's a need for the spirit's perfection. These are the lessons, in the end, become perfect, become sort of like a golden light, which then comes to the point, this perfection comes to the point where the spirit, our spirit, will be called across the barrier. But at all times, regardless, the spirit is still very strongly controlled by that total power. Even when we move across, what's on the other side of that barrier is not for us to know. It's irrelevant for us to know. In other words, maybe some life forms know. I expect they do, but us on Earth, we do not know. Now, what is the point, actually, point and path of our karma now on Earth? I'm not just talking about 2022. I'm talking about a long time ago as well, when the Earth came to this part of the galaxy. The Earth and all the Earths that are in existence all have a purpose which we could not possibly understand, because there is learning in a different form on each and every planet or Earth. What is happening at this time for our spirits now is a progression through a path of experience to reach a new world of experience. An analogy of the situation of karma would be that of a little grub. So let's assume we are that little grub. The little grub that knows maybe only the tree trunk as its world, and then suddenly it gains the necessary experience through living in this little tree trunk. And from that experience, it then becomes a chrysalis. And then from the chrysalis, forming from that, is the butterfly. Butterfly, that's us, which finds a new world, a whole new world. Or perhaps a very small tadpole that moves around and its earth is solely the water, and then suddenly becomes a frog and finds land. So a completely new world is found. And this same situation is happening with our spirit at this time. The point is, the spirit does experience a feeling of time, which in the physical sense we are not aware of. Sometimes, how can I say this? Sometimes we get odd feelings. Oh God, maybe I've done this before, or it's like a deja vu. It's for that period of time, or yeah, this feels good. It's when our spirit moves through that space or that dimension of learning, which is then satisfactory and knowledgeable that, yeah, I'm going to reach this new world. Ooh, yippee. Have you ever wondered why a grub is born in that state and then merges into the state of a butterfly? Why not just become a butterfly? Skip the rest. Simply because there has been the need of learning and the experience. It is always the need of the spirit to find that need and that learning. And this is an apt indication of our life and the feeling of our progression and the enormous changes that have always occurred and are certainly occurring now. Now, why are some people born ill? Why have some people much more than others? We're all moving through a chrysalis state, and once we are in the realms of spirit, i.e. dead, We are in a sort of a hibernation state, but have not yet moved across the barrier. Our spiritual progression is continuous. Birth, death, birth, death. It's a circular situation, and so on and so on, until we are called across the barrier. When we talk of the word karma, everyone assumes that it is the bodily functions and the bodily pathway, but of course it's not. And yet it is. It's not particularly for the body, although one speaks of the karmic pattern for the body, for the path of life, and yet, of course, it is not for the body. The body goes nowhere. The body goes back into the earth. It is only the spirit that moves on. And so, who is karma for? Food for thought, to think about it.
Who's it for? What do
Who's
you
it
think,
for?
Ines? Who do you think?
Well,
It's for?
yeah, it's obviously, it is and it isn't. As I said last week, we have to be human beings. We are made this way. So it's not a criticism on humanity.
Yeah.
We need nice things that give us a little lift, gives us a purpose to, from 9 to 5, trudge away, or when the mines or with some horrible job, there has to be some little carrot just to move on.
Yeah.
Life can be so difficult,
Yeah.
so hideously difficult for the need of the spirit to learn.
Yeah.
So obviously it's both. We
It's
owe
both.
this to ourselves, our spirit, which is us. It's us. We're doing this entirely for ourselves to make the best of our life. You know, that's why podcasts like ours and others, people are listening. They want, so what do I do? Why is it for? And this is why it's simple. Very simple.
Yeah, and I suppose it's an interesting thing that you mentioned, and I think I think a part of this is to create that sense of meaning of life. All right, I think understanding karma in the way that we do, gives a sense of meaning to our life, which is like comes from within rather than from without. I mean, I totally understand what you say about the carrots of having nice things and so on and so forth, but I suppose it's also that spiritual progression is creating meaning from within rather than from without, right?
That
Because I think that
will
it'll help us persevere through the challenges, basically.
That's it. Persevere through the challenges. You lose your job, you're demoted, or you have less hours, or you're not getting the contract you depended on to pay off a bill. Everything should have worked out, but it didn't work out. Instead of beating yourself up and saying, I'm worthless, I'm no good, or maybe other people are saying it, that you have the confidence, okay, I'm in this place for a reason. Often people think, what is it? I wrote this down as well, which I might share with everybody who is listening. Let's see. Okay. You are not in your current position by accident. You haven't put where you are because somebody made a mistake, or because someone is failing to pay attention to you. Why aren't I Paul Getty? It's not like that. It's not a mistake. We are where we are by design. And if that design, yes, karma can wear off because we have free will. But in the end, we have to come back to the square. I think I mentioned to you, there's a chap where I live in a little town. He has a little stall, and he works. It's not his stall, and the rates always go up, even on these little crappy stalls. And so he might have to move. He said, fine, but he said, no one can take anything away from me. And he's absolutely correct. He's looking beyond the stall. He will find work. Maybe he'll have a stall somewhere else. But if he is meant to have it, no one can take anything away. And no one can take anything away from anybody. And if we're one of those individuals that at the bottom rung of the ladder, there is a reason.
Yeah.
It's not because you're not good enough. It's not because you're being punished. Punished is always I always hear that, oh, well, what did you do in your last life? It doesn't work like that. It's purely a learning situation.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I love your analogy of the caterpillar and the butterfly, and I think that was a very nice analogy.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
And like, why not just skip to becoming the butterfly, because experience is important.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
But we are moving towards a new world of experience.
Yeah.
And that's been going on for a couple of thousand years.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ines, for that.
You're very welcome.
And
oh, can I just see this? This is not these are not my pearls of wisdom, okay? But I saw this and I thought I just want to pass it on who hasn't seen it, or to remind anyone of it who has seen it. Do more, help more, be more.
Where's that from?
Either by the side of a bus, or I saw it in a newspaper, something like that.
I love that, Ines. Yeah, 100%.
Do more, help more, be more.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone, as always, for listening in. And if you have any questions, comments, just send us a message and we'll get back to you.
Yeah, brilliant.
All right. Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye. Toodaloo.